This wasn't a routine legal argument. The motion included a sworn statement from a key witness claiming direct knowledge of the conspiracy. The central figure is Mike Glenn Stein, a terminally ill inmate who identified himself as a high-ranking Aryan Brotherhood member. According to his statement, 3 prison officials at FCI Butner in North Carolina allegedly offered him freedom in exchange for carrying out the murder. The reason is that Mr. Kelly was about to expose some facts that would be extremely inflammatory and damaging to the Bureau of Prisons and the Department of Justice. And because of that, the Bureau of Prisons instructed Michael Glenn Stein to go to Butner and execute R. Kelly. And Mr. Stein made clear and gave us extraordinary detail when we spoke to Mr. Stein. We didn't use this until we actually went down and met with Mr. Stein for hours, and he told us in extraordinary detail that this is not the first instance, that this happens all the time, that the Aryan Brotherhood has been directed to commit murders and beatings at the behest of prison officials for years. Brindley argued that Kelly was reportedly preparing to expose highly damaging information about the Bureau of Prisons and the Department of Justice to prevent that from coming to light. He's going to die in the near future. That's a fact. And they have said that he will be transferred and he'll get the opportunity to walk away. And Michael Glenn Stein has a history of escaping from Bureau of Prisons. He escaped previously. That's why he spent so long at the ADX Supermax in Florence, and all of a sudden, he was moved to this relatively low-security facility at Butner and put near R. Kelly. That's a fact. This story takes a darker turn with new claims from Mike Glenn Stein. According to his sworn statement, prison officials offered him a specific deal, a transfer and the chance to escape, allowing him to die a free man instead of behind bars. Given Stein's past prison escapes and his time at ADX Florence, the escape offer carried weight. But rather than following through with the alleged plan, Stein claimed he changed his mind. He was reportedly transferred to Kelly's prison unit in March 2025, where he was directed by officials to carry out the killing. Instead, Stein allegedly informed Kelly of the plot and disclosed that such arrangements where prison staff direct gang members to commit violence were commonplace. Stein further alleged that the Aryan Brotherhood had been used repeatedly to carry out acts of violence under direction from Bureau of Prisons personnel, and that discussions have been had about poison in the food hall, about poison in the commissary. Discussions with Mr. Stein have been had about stabbings. These are the kinds of methods that have been discussed. If these claims hold, they suggest widespread corruption within the federal prison system, extending far beyond any single case. Kelly's legal team later claimed that in June 2025, they uncovered a second plot. Another Aryan Brotherhood member was allegedly directed to kill both Kelly and Stein, raising new concerns about the scope and seriousness of the situation. The allegations detail specific methods reportedly planned for the hit, including poisoning food in the chow hall or commissary and coordinated stabbings. After the emergency motion was filed, Kelly's situation reportedly worsened. He was transferred to solitary confinement at FCI Butner, where his legal team claims he's now isolated from family and held in unsanitary, pest-infested conditions. Well, let me say it this way. It's not he's not allegedly having evidence. We do have evidence. And one piece of evidence we've already presented in the form of a signed declaration from Keshen Mogg to Moody, Robert's former cellmate, and what he describes as having been solicited by prosecutors who are offering him a reduced sentence in exchange for stealing Mr. Kelly's privileged attorney-client correspondence. The legal team argues that the move is retaliatory, not protective, stemming from Kelly's exposure of the alleged murder plot. He now reportedly refuses to eat prison meals or use commissary goods out of fear they've been poisoned. Yet, the murder plot is only one part of a broader conspiracy his legal team is alleging. According to his attorneys, Kelly's case is rooted in serious constitutional violations and misconduct. They claim his former cellmate, Keshen Moody, was recruited by federal prosecutors to steal privileged attorney-client communications. Moody signed a declaration stating that prison guards facilitated the theft and a Bureau of Prisons investigator copied the documents, which were then used during trial proceedings. If proven true, this would represent a major breach of constitutional protections and could potentially nullify Kelly's conviction. Absolutely. We're going to seek every opportunity to 1. Make sure that Robert Kelly doesn't get killed, and number 2. To see that he is freed based on what we believe to be and will prove to be a corrupt prosecution, the kind of which President Trump has promised to eradicate. Federal prosecutors responded on June 16, 2025, calling the murder plot allegations fanciful and deeply unserious, signaling strong pushback against the defense's explosive claims. Prosecutors responded firmly, describing Kelly as a serial, unrepentant offender and asserting that his claims trivialize the suffering of his victims. They argue that placing him in solitary confinement indicates prison officials are taking safety concerns seriously. He falling about what they doing to all blacks in America. They violating out of our human rights. R. Kelly case 2. They violating that man human rights. Larry Hoover like they violating his human rights. He got another bogus case, directly contradicting the narrative of an orchestrated murder plot within the facility. Amid escalating tension, Kelly's legal team made a direct appeal to President Donald Trump seeking a presidential pardon. They argue Kelly is a victim of severe prosecutorial misconduct and that Trump, having faced his own legal challenges, might be uniquely positioned to understand the situation from a different perspective. The appeal emphasizes Trump's previous commutation of Gangster Disciples co-founder Larry Hoover's sentence, suggesting precedent for granting clemency in controversial cases. However, as of the most recent updates, no pardon has been issued. Kelly's legal team is also framing his case within a larger national conversation, suggesting a pattern of systemic targeting against high-profile black men in America. Former cellmate Ronnie B. has publicly drawn comparisons between Kelly's legal ordeal and other prominent legal cases, claiming there's a broader agenda at play behind these prosecutions. Despite the serious murder plot allegations, Kelly's legal efforts in federal court have faced repeated setbacks. On February 12, 2025, the Second U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals upheld his conviction and 30-year sentence, rejecting claims about biased jurors, prosecutorial misconduct, and misuse of racketeering laws. Kelly's legal counsel, Jennifer Bonjan, has announced plans to seek a review from the U.S. Supreme Court, citing concerns over prosecutorial overreach and constitutional violations. However, the Supreme Court had already declined to hear Kelly's appeal related to his Chicago conviction back in October 2024. Amid legal frustrations and reported threats, Kelly has remained artistically engaged. During a March 2025 prison podcast interview, he claimed to have written 25 full albums while incarcerated. Yet, the narrative took a troubling turn. Recently filed court documents allege that Kelly suffered a medical emergency in custody. His legal team claims the incident resulted from improper medication administered by prison staff. Kelly's health appears to be deteriorating. He reportedly suffers from diabetes and has endured severe complications including blood clots in his legs, an issue that he claimed nearly ended his life. While the overdose raised serious concerns, it's the insider voices from within the prison, particularly one cellmate, that are now drawing major attention. The claims from this former inmate reveal an entirely new layer to the situation, including alleged industry secrets and explosive testimony that could reshape public understanding. According to new reports, these revelations come from a former federal inmate named Ronnie Bowe, who shared a cell with Kelly. He has since published a book detailing their alleged conversations, presenting bold claims about corruption, power plays, and deeper forces operating within the music industry. Bowe, whose legal name is Ronnie Bowe Williams, identifies himself as both an author and the CEO of Grind Mode Incorporated. His proximity to Kelly during their time at the Metropolitan Correctional Center in Chicago is central to these claims. While some of the information remains disputed or unverifiable, the testimony points to systemic issues and suggests that individuals with too much knowledge can quickly become liabilities to powerful interests. Bowe alleges that Kelly provided first-hand accounts of behind-the-scenes dynamics that contributed to his legal collapse. Stories that stretch beyond a personal case and raise alarms about industry-wide practices. Here's where the story takes a deeper turn. Ronnie Bowe claims he played a key role in getting Kelly transferred from protective custody to general population. According to Bowe, he had established strong connections with influential inmates from various prison organizations, including the Gangster Disciples, Latin Kings, and Blackstones. These groups allegedly agreed that Kelly should be allowed in general population without incident. This detail suggests that prominent figures within the prison system vouched for Kelly's safety, effectively granting him a degree of protection behind bars. But the real intrigue lies in what Bo claims Kelly revealed during their private discussion.